So
Rolling.
let's talk,
Action.
let's vibe, let's unwind. Share stories from the back of the daily grind. With every plate, a piece of our lives combined.
Yes, legends, how are we doing? My name's Paddy. I'm the founder of So Let's Talk, and we work on the mental, physical and financial health of hospitality professionals. In these podcasts, we're going to be talking to absolute legends from the hospitality industry about all things people, culture, health, lifestyle, whilst working inside of the trade. Come with us and 86 of silence. Yes, Han, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Always.
What an
Absolute
exciting
pleasure.
Tuesday morning.
Tell the beautiful people what it is you do.
I'm the Talent and Culture Director at The Alchemist, a creative cocktail bar and restaurant. I forgot who we are then. That was fun.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And I'm also really lucky to work with you in a small way at So Let's Talk.
You always say that. It's a
From
small
the
way.
beginning.
It is from the beginning.
I love it.
You were at our first ever event.
I know.
Yeah. I
We
remember
know.
that. Yeah. Sat there just smiling at me being like, yes to this conversation.
So it was so refreshing and exciting.
Yeah. And then The Alchemist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, big business.
Big business now, yeah. We've got 23 in the UK, and I say just, it was a year ago, but it's flown by. Open in Berlin, which is so exciting and cool. So yeah, there's another culture we can crack at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been there 13 years. Started off as a server. My actual hospitality life, I was thinking about this on the way over, in a restaurant in Knutsford when I was 14.
Did you?
Yeah. My dad's in hospitality, and it was kind of in our blood. So me and my brother were like put to work at like 14, clearing tables, all that stuff. And then anyway, I actually went to university to train to be a nurse. Transferable, I think.
Did you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, I trained to be a nurse and then joined Living Ventures
Yeah.
to make some money and never went back to nursing.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nursing.
And then end up in a people role.
Very
Yeah.
transferable.
I'm constantly nursing people.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Like nursing people. So that comes really quite naturally to you, being empathetic. I've been surrounded with you for a long time, right?
Yeah.
That is really natural for you to be empathetic towards people.
It wasn't like my original goal in hospitality. I guess when you join hospitality, you don't think about the structure, do you? You just think it's servers, bartenders, chefs, managers.
And that's like the normal, what people
Yeah.
think is the trajectory.
And there's actually a great career in so many different places.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know I'm going to say I fell into it, but my boss would be angry to say that. I guess I was always very people focused, but I went through an operational route, so always said I'm going to write a book on the opening of The Alchemist and make my fortune, tell all the dirty secrets.
Yeah, well, we can do it now if you want. That'll make for a great
Yeah,
one.
as long as I change everyone's names, I think
Yeah.
I'll be all right. But I opened every site, really. Started when we had two, after I'd been at Living Ventures, and then, still here now, and I love it.
And we're going to jump into a little bit about the kind of empathetic approach to being a people professional. Mm-hmm. But before we actually chat about that, Living Ventures is a business. So we've both worked at Living Ventures.
Yeah.
And some could say intense when it comes down to the training process. Creates incredible hospitality professionals.
Yeah.
Like service-wise.
I feel like how many people you just know that you've worked at LV.
Without a doubt.
We loved it.
Whenever I say on your marks, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, everyone shivers a little bit. That's why we call the cans on your marks. People just know, don't they, instantly. And
Yeah, totally. I don't think I could obviously pass judgment about what it's like now, because as much as we have the same chairman, I don't know what goes on there. But yeah, it was a baptism of fire, really, wasn't it?
I mean, yeah, but
I did come home for my first day and think I joined a cult, but it didn't put me off.
No.
So it was like a good thing.
I remember, when I first started working in the trade, it was like a rite of passage, right? You just want to go and work at LV, get the training, tell everyone that you've been LV trained, because it came with a certain stature.
Yeah, totally.
And especially if you had the bar blade, right?
Yeah.
You've done all the tests and all that kind of stuff.
Well, we obviously transferred a lot of that to The Alchemist. We
Yeah.
still, run the bar blade scheme.
Yeah, and talk to me a little bit about how that is in the trade at the moment. I'm hearing a lot of people talk about the art of hospitality being lost along the way, and I don't believe that's true. Yeah.
In what way?
So, especially what they call the middle market. So
Yeah.
they're talking about that there are a lot of people coming into the trade that are using it as a stepping stone and have somewhat lost the art of hospitality.
Yeah.
So that some of the passion behind actually doing the work and making people happy through services has been lost. And then I step into a venue like The Alchemist and I'm like, Well, you're talking nonsense.
Yeah.
Because I was here.
Well, that's really kind.
Yeah.
But I think it's because we all love it. Like the Central team, we've all been there such a long time, and we all still love it. And at the end of the day, it's delivering great experiences. Otherwise, you shouldn't be there.
That's interesting as well.
'Cause it's a right laugh.
Yeah, it is. And also, I used to
It's the life lessons you learn, right?
and getting a kick out of making people happy through service.
Sure. There's just like, I think especially like with us, there's like nothing better than just watching someone see dry ice for the first time.
Right.
It's just lovely.
Yeah, it is.
Even if but that's with the staff as well. Like when you do a new opening and you do the cocktail mix off for the first time and everyone's blown away by these like things changing colour and setting on fire. Honestly, if you could have a really crap day.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to swear?
Oh, mate, you can say
Sorry.
what you want. Yeah, 100%.
Podcast.
No, we can. We can do it.
I only said crap, that's all right. Let's see how that builds. No, you can have a really, really, really shit day and then, you just watch sort of a couple of guests just be absolutely blown away by something that your team are doing.
Yeah.
It's mega.
It is mega. It is mega. And then you are obviously in a really senior people role.
Stressful.
Well, yeah, chat about that a lot, right? Talk to me about some of the misconceptions.
It's stressful because you're empathetic.
Okay.
I think it's really interesting because you meet a lot of different people. And I really feel it. I get really upset. And some people, I guess, would see that as like weakness.
Yeah.
But it's not. I can still do my job. But I always think it's important to have the yin to your yang. So you need... I have an amazing team around me that go, shut up, Anna, you're being stupid.
Right, okay. It's nice that you've got that kind
It's
of
great, yeah, totally.
And the yin to
I
yang.
often lose my sleep. I mean, I was up at 4 a.m. What was I worrying about last night? It's not completely silly, but that's just me. And I think that's a good thing because it shows how much I think, knowing me, if I ever got to a point where I wasn't losing sleep over The Alchemist, I'd know it was my time to go.
Would you?
Oh my God, for sure, yeah.
But you manage your sleep, we talk about this a lot, right? You manage your sleep quite heavily, don't you?
I actually meant to text you the day because I've got some incredible new sleep patches.
I saw them.
Yeah. It's actually really funny. You could probably see my fake tan spots there from where I put my patch.
And it's like a melatonin.
Oh, I'm sleeping 9 hours. It's fantastic. Melatonin,
Unbelievable.
Honestly.
So, but losing sleep because you are worrying about other people, being an empathetic leader can come with its superpower, right? So it means that like a lot of people are going to warm to you. They're going to want to talk to you. You really care, really passionate about the work that you do. The other side of that is it can come at a detriment to you, right?
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that. Like, at what point in time do you draw a line?
I think I kind of, you learn it a lot yourself, don't you? Because COVID, I basically became a people director a month before COVID.
Thanks.
That was fun. And obviously I've been in an ops role. I was head of restaurant operations for like a good 6 years before that. Which obviously I've always been an empathetic person, but your like purpose every day is like delivering guest experience, right? And it's not, obviously you're looking after your people, but that wasn't like my sole thing. And then obviously we went into COVID, that was fun, but I had a lot of downtime to kind of do research and like learn stuff. But certainly when we came back, I did let myself burn out because I didn't know when to stop or when to stop being empathetic, or everyone was going through such a shit time.
Right.
Like everyone was so angry.
Yeah.
And a lot of people we found took like the anger was at the company, and actually it's not, it's at the world. And you get it at the moment, wars going on, it's the same, and you kind of learn that. But I've definitely got much better since I've met you. Like not with like you've seen me go through some like exhaustion.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, no, walk the dog.
Yeah.
Walk the dog, go and see the horse, get some fresh air, come back to it later. And I think I'm really lucky that my our CEO has always taught me that. He's always like, if I'm in a mood, he's like, Plummy, go walk the dog, will you? Bring me back later.
See, that's
because he knows that like I've been an arsehole. Yeah. But I think, it's hard, and you can't teach it either. You've got to put the right things in place and find that feat yourself, because otherwise it is exhausting and you resent it.
Well,
there's no point in being in a job that you resent.
It's a dangerous thing, and we've both seen it, right? We've both seen hospitality professionals who are incredibly talented, that have loads to give the industry, who have left because they've burnt themselves out. And whether that's in a people role or it's not in a people role. And without knowing about it, maybe we were perpetuating those cycles because
Totally.
Yeah, we were like, oh, it's fine, we'll just keep on going.
Oh my God, I used to work 7 days a week like I was this big boss legend. Like, especially when I first went into ops.
Yeah.
It was like, check me out. I've not been home for a week. What? And I'm really proud to say that we don't, you know, obviously shit happens, doesn't it? And people are away. But like, as a business, we don't champion that at all anymore. But it was just the way. I think like before COVID, working from home, you'd be like, what are you talking about? You work in a restaurant or a bar.
Yeah.
But now, you know, you've got stuff to do. Do it at home. I'd much rather sit at home and crack on than go and travel to a venue and then all they see is me sat on a laptop. Because they're like, who's this twat?
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer in that. Like, oh, I think work, especially in like an operations role, like working from home is really important because then you can be present when you're in a venue. And you find out more about your people. There's no point in being a people person if you don't actually understand the pulse of what's going on. And I find that really important.
Yeah, because you don't have the bandwidth.
Yeah.
Because you're always going to different cities.
Sat on a Teams call. Or you going to another city sitting on a Teams call. It's completely pointless.
And that's going to drip down to the team as well,
Of
right?
course. And that causes this like head office divide. And that's just not the thing. Because you're never going to... There's no point in trying to make decisions for your people if you don't know what your people want. It's for sure. Like,
that's a good point.
you need to be in the venues, you need to be talking to people and actually find out what the temperature is.
And I like the fact that you call it temperature. We used to, what was it called? The litmus test.
Oh God, we still call it that.
Yeah, no, right. Do you and your like, you have to check all of the temperature and the lighting inside of a venue. But there's a
We'll never ever get rid of our LV, but as much as like we're very different, the business has changed, but there's certain things.
Yeah, and I think
it just worked. Tim knew what he was doing.
Without a doubt.
So,
and it's really powerful. You can take it into the rest of like life. But we talk about that. So the head office divide. So let's talk about.
Yeah.
I call it generational blame. Mm-hmm. And for anyone,
it's like blaming the boomer parents.
Yes.
Totally.
And do you see that? Do you see that happening inside of the Alchemist? How do you work on that?
I feel quite proud to say we don't have a big divide until something happens, and then it's like, for example, we recently changed our staff food, and that didn't go down well at all. But it's a business decision that had to be made in the current climate. Like, we're all still suffering after COVID, and we've all got to keep people in jobs, and that didn't go down well. But other than like, you know, major cultural things you make, I think I'm really proud to say that we actually don't call ourselves head office, we call ourselves the base. And then that was like our way of changing that narrative. But when the divide comes, it is those things. It's, you know, you come in here and you sit on your laptop. And I think for me, it's explaining what you're doing, because if people don't know what you're doing, they're just going to think you're dicking around.
Yeah, the communication.
I remember when I was a server, we used to joke actually, 'cause two of the directors used to come in and sit like in front of each other with their laptops, and I'd be like, "You're playing battleships, like what are you doing?"
Yeah.
But you just don't know, and actually people are doing work. But I think, we're a really fun. We like to think we're a really friendly business that go in and like get to know the team and chat to them. And, you know, our COO's exactly like that. Like he knows everyone's name, and it's amazing because that's what's so important to us.
And it's like the top two things that people between the age of 18 to 24 were looking for. Right? A piece of research was done, and he said was to feel valued and a life balance. And money wasn't in that conversation.
No, money only ever comes up when people are pissed off at work.
Right.
Genuinely, that's what I believe.
Yeah.
You'll never get challenged on hourly rates and stuff like that if people feel valued and like they've got a career. And I don't mean that you should pay shit wages. That's not what I mean.
Yeah.
But you only get a sense of like there's a problem in a venue is when people start going, my money's not enough, or not, because it's like, why am I here then? Mm-hmm. But that's why people seem so important.
Symptom, not cause, right? Mm-hmm. That's like the symptom conversation is, I'm pissed off about this is going wrong, I'm not getting paid enough, that person's getting paid more than me. But actually, if you talk about the cause, which is what you've just been chatting about, where you get to know the person, it's usually, and not always, down to them not feeling valued.
No.
And that can be a lack of communication, like it's
not getting a thanks.
Not getting a thanks. Somebody from head office coming in and just relaying information without giving any kind of, here's the reason why we're doing this. Mm-hmm. That used to happen all the time in the trade, right? Oh, we're changing this, we're changing that.
We all, like, make mistakes all the time.
Without a doubt.
I'm in charge of communication, and then, you know, you don't get it right all the time. And it's really hard. And you can either lose sleep over it, or you can, like, appraise yourself.
Yeah.
What could we have done better?
Yeah.
We'll do that next time.
reflective
And, like,
practice.
say when you've fucked up. It's like my favourite thing. Yeah, fuck that up. I put in a new platform recently and it didn't go very well, and it's the only thing I've said to everyone, like, I don't know, it's not gone well.
Yeah, not gone well. That just work.
We'll make it better. And because that's how you're human. You're not just a robot from head office that's trying. I think it's, obviously you get people that think you just, you know, that we're out to be a dickhead, and we're not.
That's one of the first.
Like, I really care.
Yeah,
I really care. And without standing in front of them going, I really care about you. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how do you get that across?
100%. It was one of the first things that I recognised about you, right? It was that you did, obviously, that you really care.
I really deeply care.
Really deeply
and sometimes that is a detriment.
Yeah.
Because in a corporate world, an emotional woman isn't a professional woman. Wow. And I'm very proud, but that's not what everyone thinks of me. Everyone just knows I'm an idiot. Not an idiot, but I'm opinionated.
Yeah.
And like, when I say emotional,
yeah,
it's not just like upset emotion. I'll get angry.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you how I think. But I'm not, I don't know, it's funny, isn't it? I guess that's again a mental health thing, isn't it? Like,
so for
I'm not going to stop that.
No.
That's who I am as a person.
I don't feel, look where you are, right? So for anybody else listening into this now, who's looking at you going, oh shit, actually, like I don't just have to be, I don't have to be a server or a bartender. And actually, if I
There's so many routes to go down. If you'd have told me 10 years ago you're going to be the HR director, like people director and culture director, I'd be like, shut up, I've not been to uni.
Okay.
I haven't got any qualifications. I haven't got any CIPD. It's just experience and like belief and passion about it. And that's what I believe's got me this far.
And not just, let's just not talk about the education and skill set part of it, but actually like as a person. So you just said that you are emotional, which is, I think, incredible, because that shows vulnerability. That you have to show every aspect of your emotion. Obviously, regulate.
I mean, I'm not going to sit and cry in front of the team.
No. But then,
you know,
somebody watching this who...
That's something to ugly cry at home, so the half, isn't it? But, do you know what? You know, I wouldn't lose as many tears over it anymore, because I realise that it's work, isn't it? And life's important. But I, certainly don't want to just not be who I am.
Yeah.
Can.
And that's that. And I talk to a lot of people who are maybe looking to get into those roles, who think that they have to be a certain version of themselves to make that role work. So like, to be a people professional, you have to be really empathetic. I actually don't believe that's the truth.
I don't believe that's the truth, no.
Oh, I meet some really, really incredible people who are naturally empathetic, who are in people positions, but they are the best at signposting. And whether that's to somebody in their team who is maybe naturally empathetic, but they also have a different view on situations that can be polarized.
That's why, like, the yin to the yang so important, like, to be able to have a conversation about what you're going to do that isn't... Because I lead with my emotions sometimes, and that's great, but also it's not at the same time, so it's good to be able to, like, bounce ideas off people that are going to think more commercially, or going to think about the business more. And then you learn along the way. Yeah,
and this is a stereotype. Those people are usually really, really good at setting boundaries as well.
Yeah.
Right? And then you learn loads.
And that's taken me 10 years.
I still haven't figured it out. Still haven't figured it out. I talk to everyone about it, like I know what I'm talking about. And then I'm doing it. I'm like, I just panic. You need to listen to yourself a little bit.
So I had my other half saying to me the other day, it was like late at night, and I was dealing with some issues, and he was like, you're not an AI chatbot. Go to bed. Like, it's still going to be there in the morning. Like, I always have this phrase, like, you'll never complete the level.
Okay.
So, like, you don't need to work. And that's, like, my rhetoric, and he's, like, reminding me of it. Like, with people, there's always going to be something. Well, not even with that. With hospitality, with anything. It's never going to be a day where you're, like, finished.
Yeah, right.
Well, one, we're still open. Do you know, like, there's always going to be something on. We're basically a 24/7 business.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll never complete the level. That's a good bit of advice.
Yeah, especially when it comes down to culture, right? Mm-hmm. So we talk to a lot of people about culture. You talk about culture a lot.
Actually annoys me that it's in my job title.
Yeah.
Because actually, one, I don't believe you can direct culture. So it's strange to be a culture director. But also, culture can be really bad. Like, it's not always a positive thing.
Correct.
So it's an odd thing to have. as a job title. Obviously, I'm very proud of it. And it's about talent and it's about people. And it's obviously makes you realise that you need to strive for that perfect stuff. But it can be really crap.
Yeah.
And it's like hard to take it on yourself that like you are in charge of the culture.
It's like easy happiness.
And you're not. Because actually, you know, building a culture isn't by me going into the venues and talking. Well, it is, but it isn't by me. I don't have to have an impact on every single 1,000 members of staff culture, but it's going through the right channels and through the leadership team and down that way. Because fundamentally the GMs run the business, not us. They're the ones that run the teams, they're the ones that run the venues. So it's making sure you're supporting them.
And they all have their own culture with inside those venues.
Oh, totally.
Like we work with a lot of large national businesses and they talk about culture like it's just this one singular thing across the board.
We've got values.
Yeah, we've got, and it's like, well, nobody knows about them.
I know. Or they're like painted on the wall.
Yeah, right. And then you do want to talk to a GM who's running a site who's maybe in a different geographical location. Maybe it's not like London or Manchester or up north, and it might be somewhere that's on its own. And that general manager has created their own culture within inside of their business, which could be good, bad, and different, but also all of that includes learning.
And also can change overnight. It takes months to build a good culture, and it takes 24 hours to ruin it.
Like, is it your title? Scary, that
genuinely. You make one mistake, and that's months to fix, and that's a lot to remember.
Yeah, it is. It is. And you talked about recognising life and not work life, right? And that you're a human outside of the trade and outside of your role. Talk to us, like, what do you do when
I love your phrase, you're a human being, not a human doing.
Yeah, and I
have to tell myself quite a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, we all nick it all, pants.
Yeah.
Who cares, as long as everyone, you know, learns from each other.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, human being, not human doing. I talk about that all the time, right? I rinse that one. I rinse that one, and it's because it's really powerful for me to be able to remember, and we talk about it quite a lot. We have a lot of conversations about what we're doing for ourselves, how we're serving ourselves first, because you really care and you're passionate and you're empathetic. So who are you when you're not being hospitable? What do you do when you're not being hospitable?
Not a lot. No, I'm joking. I've got a dog and a wonderful husband to be.
Yeah.
I do a lot of dog walking. I also have a horse. I don't know why I get really anxious when I tell people that, because it makes me sound like the poshest person in the world.
Do you think?
Maybe I've just been told that too many times, but I spend a lot of time outdoors, and that is my mental health. Yeah. Like, for sure, if I am having a bad day or I'm really stressed, my other half's like, go and get on your horse immediately, and then I just go off into the woods and like clear my head and get some fresh air. And then, you know, it's really funny because obviously I've worked for a very successful, lovely bar group for so long, but I can't think of anything worse than like going into town and going out drinking cocktails. Not anymore.
Is that not for you?
No, local pub for sure with a dog. Yeah.
Local boozer, dog.
Definitely.
Yeah, partner.
Yeah. Or sit in the garden.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just over it. Maybe it's because you spend your whole day job doing it. It's like, God.
So true.
The thought of going out. But yeah, and you know, big family person.
Massive.
Big music person.
You are you?
Yeah, I'm going to see Bruce Springsteen on Thursday night for the 20th time.
If anybody doesn't know, Han's been to see Springsteen about 1,000 times. Yeah.
What a fantastic. I can't wait. Hear my mum.
You're excited every time, aren't you?
Yeah, I love it. Buzz off it. Yeah, for sure. I only cancelled my hen do on Saturday because he's announced another date.
Oh, you did.
But I'm obviously not going to do that. But yeah, spending time with my family. But like, I don't think that's always been me. Like, if you brought my mum into this podcast, she'd just batter me because she's found my hospitality career really frustrating.
Okay.
Because she thinks I've said no to too much stuff. And I used to always be like, yeah, but look where it's got me.
Okay.
But I just don't think that's true.
Right.
Like, you can still get to where you want to be. And maybe that's because cultures have changed in the last 10 years. And certainly since COVID, people do not, I mean, I'll talk about our business and people that I know, sell your soul to working 7 days a week anymore. But that's what I did. And if you actually think back, like, I wasn't told to. I don't think, like, I'm sure my bosses will be screaming if they listen to this, but they didn't. But it was like what we all did. We just all collectively worked far too hard. Felt like if you left the business at 5, it'd be like, all right, part-timer.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it was like, right? Wasn't it?
100%.
And so my mum would be pretty raging for me to sit here and say, yeah, my work-life balance is great, because it hasn't been.
Yeah.
And she's obviously proud of me now, but yeah, I missed out on a lot of family events.
Yeah.
That I regret.
So many.
Because I would have still got here anyway.
Christmas and New Year's. And...
I always went home for Christmas.
Did you?
Yeah.
Right.
But like, weddings, parties, birthdays, things like that.
Yeah.
So definitely missed out on loads of. And like, I talk to like friends at work now and you're like, why did we do that? Because it doesn't make you any less good at your job. But I hope that society's changed and it isn't the same. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's like, obviously I'm talking a lot here about like being in ops because it's been 10 years of my life, but even back in the venues, like I'd never book a day off.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
You just like, what are you talking about? You've booked a day off.
A week. Imagine booking a week.
Never went on holiday.
Consistently.
Because you'd just be like, no, graft.
Yeah.
AFD.
And then you felt guilt. And also, I creating the venue to be your home, right?
Yeah.
It was where I felt the most comfortable. Spending time inside of my house when I worked inside of the trade felt uncomfortable at times because I was
I still see that people, it's like your whole friendship group is surrounded by that business. And I guess I did that.
And even dating.
I'm really yeah.
Yeah.
I'm literally getting married next 4 weeks to someone I met at the Alchemist, so I can't talk. But it's so important that you keep that like outside life, because you can lose a lot of friends. And I feel like when I talk to some of the team at work about it, they're like looking at me like, "All right, Mum, shut up." But I'm like, no, you've got to not just surround yourself with work.
Yeah. Because
you can't switch off. And I love that people love it, and that's fantastic. But no, that's probably my biggest regret, really.
Yeah, I'd agree. And do you know, when you do this like toxic positivity, I'm going to try and find gratitude in that. And I look back at it and I'm like, do you know what? No, I'm not going to try and find gratitude in it. It sucked.
Yeah, it really sucked. I used to find like pride. Like I'd be like, leave the house on a Monday morning with my suitcase, get back on late on a Saturday night or a Sunday morning. What?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Wild.
And also, what an expense to the business that's like unneeded. And like, we totally don't do that now. And you're like, what an expense.
It is cool. It's cool to hear you talk about that, mate, because it has changed. Like we talk to a lot of hospitality professionals, and they just don't see the world in the same way, which I'm really happy about, actually, because I don't want them to experience those things. I don't. It's
really interesting, actually, isn't it? Because you've obviously like built your brand on talking to people like me and you, and actually, as the years have gone by, there's a younger crowd you're talking to now that actually don't do that. So you've had to really change your...
But to rewrite all the stuff,
rewrite everything, really, because you're really talking to people our age and not Gen Z. Like, I would say 50% of our team don't drink. Yeah. You've got 50% of the team that still want to have a bev after work, and they might only have that one bev and that's it. Right. Or there's, still people that go out and have a great night. Good for them. Yeah. But then 50% of the team go to the gym after work.
Yeah, which is unheard of, isn't it? Like, it's so cool.
Back in our day, it's like, what a loser you would be if you weren't having a bev after work. And that's horrible, isn't it? But, it's really changed now. And, when I build our, benefits models, and you have to really take into account that it's not the same. People don't want a free drink after work. Yeah. They want a gym membership or a best pension or health.
But, care or...
Loads of our team can't get a doctor's appointment, which is outrageous.
That is outrageous.
And it's not, you don't need to ply them with 10 pints every night. You need to provide something else. You need to provide them with food.
And it's changed.
And we didn't used to give out free food, but you'd get a free bev every night. So we changed that after COVID. But yeah, it's interesting. It's certainly changed since you and I were doing it. Getting old, mate.
Yeah, 100%. And learning to listen.
Yeah.
Right? So we look at the way that we used to operate. And most of my conversations... when I first set up So Let's Talk, was talking to people about how they can potentially get in contact or open up with their emotions. Mm-hmm. Where a lot of the conversations now is how do you regulate them because you recognise them so heavily. Mm-hmm. And it's a completely different chat. Yeah. Which is great. But you're right, rewriting sessions because people feel like, why didn't you do that?
Yeah, you're an idiot.
Yeah, I don't like it. And I'm like, oh yeah, crap. So,
and then there's still people sat there going, Oh yeah, that sounds mint.
Yeah. So there's still a little bit of divide. Like,
Yeah.
you were not sugarcoating it, mate. Like there are still people who are going, yeah, do you know what? I am going to go in and drink half a bottle of bourbon whilst I'm doing stocks when I'm not meant to be in on my day off, right?
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff is still going to exist inside of the trade because we are surrounded by booze. But let's talk about. You mentioned horses, right? And you skipped over it because you're like, I
don't know why. And also, it's not mine. Anyway, I have it on mine. But it's the best part of my life for sure.
And connecting, so like
with an animal.
Yeah, my sister and my
doesn't talk back at me like everyone at work does.
Still feels like you feel this though, right? It's still
totally, yeah. And
having that space to be able to hack out, go right.
Yeah, and I feel really privileged to be able to do that. Yeah. And I don't want to sit here and be like, get a horse. I don't mean that. You have to find there's something really powerful about being outdoors.
Yeah.
And I know people really enjoy like the gym, but I think getting fresh air is really important. And we can harp on all we like, can't we, about making sure you do outdoor meetings and whatever. But actually, it's completely disconnecting from work that isn't sitting in a pub.
Yeah, and it's you time.
Because you know me very well. And when I'm stressed, I will have a large glass of wine. Like that's who I am, and I'm never going to not do that.
Yeah.
But it's go for a big dog walk first.
Yeah. Okay.
And not go straight to the pub from work. Not getting in and opening a bottle of wine, which is what I would have done 5 years ago.
And we know that through lived experience now. Like, is the way that I unwind, is it sustainable? Because is drinking a bottle of wine every night sustainable for me? Probably not.
No.
But if I'm doing it every now and again...
Do you love it? Yeah.
Like, for me, it wasn't sustainable, and I can't manage that.
Yeah.
So, like, I can't just have a glass of wine. If I was to open a bottle of Riesling, like, it's gone.
It's gone.
That's the reason why I don't drink anymore. But finding that out, recognising that you can connect with an animal, like me and you can talk about this for hours. Like my family had horses, definitely not posh from a council estate in Burnley, right? Yeah. But I was brought up around horses, and now they do equine assisted coaching, and just being around animals outside for me is like
for sure.
It's the absolute thing. I'm not saying everybody else does that, but I am saying that being able to find something that you love, recognise that it doesn't have to be for everybody. Is it a space that's sustainable? Like, if I need to unwind, is jumping on the back of a horse that I love and going out and for a ride, is that sustainable? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Class.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And that's just a little bit of a shout out to anyone who's listening or watching, that movement doesn't have to be going to the gym and looking
no.
kind of way. Mate.
I do really enjoy that sometimes my iPhone picks it up like I've done extra steps.
Does it?
And I'm like, God, I've done so many steps today. No, you haven't. You've literally sat your ass.
Hard work.
You've been taken around.
Yeah, you've been taken around.
No, it's not actually all the time. I like to tell everyone it's really hard work, but sometimes it is just being taken for a walk.
Chatting about all the work that you do at the Alchemist around culture. I've got a situation for you. Imagine this.
Oh God.
You've got a hospitality professional who is dead set on becoming an operator. They've saved up some cash, they've got some investment, they're opening up, let's say, one venue to get started with. But they have fucking no idea about anything people related. What would be some of your key takeaways if you're going to give advice to somebody in that position?
Oh, well, what a question.
I know, right?
I would say get to know your team, listen to your team. Yeah. Listen and feedback. Like, don't just listen for your own good. Listen, if you're asking questions and if you're asking what people want, tell them why you can't, tell them why you can. Amazing. Don't over-deliver. That would be like my biggest learning from this job is don't promise that you're going to deliver on amazing benefits packages and then have to take stuff away when life changes, because that is really hard. Like baby steps. Like don't underestimate the power of, like we were saying before, making people feel valued is better than money. Like throwing money at stuff. So does someone feel secure in their job? Do they feel like valued? Do they feel listened to? Do they feel heard? Do they feel developed? It's better than an all bells, whistles benefits package that actually just means here's a load of money, work harder for me.
Yeah.
And also, because if you have to take it away, it's culture ending.
And I think...
And I feel like a lot of hospitality businesses have been through that recently. Like since COVID, it's just been such... Honestly, how long are we going to talk about COVID?
I know, right? There is a hangover.
We've just been huge hangover from it. And everyone's just, tightening their belts, and it is really hard. But yeah... And getting to know your team and listening would be like my biggest advice.
Without a doubt.
And like listen, not just for the sake of listening, like deeply listen and understand and be present.
Okay.
Don't be an entrepreneur that owns their own bar and just drinks there on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Work there.
So
you have
true.
to be in on it.
Yeah, and there's a couple of massive things there. The one about that listening to understand people, right? Not just to respond, but also we talked about maybe Gen Zs. They're seeing through the smoke and mirrors, so they're looking at a job description that might have all the bells and whistles on it. Look at all this stuff. When actually what they're seeing is, you're going to want me to work really hard here.
Yeah.
You want me to work really hard.
And fast-paced, what's the phrase that everyone uses?
A fast-paced, competitive or
Environment.
And it's just like, okay, AFD then.
What does that mean? I'm going to work my arse off.
We're understaffed. That's what it means. It means you're understaffed.
Yeah.
I'm going to get paid this amount, and you're probably going to give me keys to lock up the venue and not pay me any more money.
No,
for sure. But 100%, like, listening to understand people. But then, like, even the hiring process, because, look, this is a whole new podcast in itself. We could talk for hours upon this. But the hiring process, so this person is just about to start hiring people. What would be some of your main pieces of advice to somebody when it comes down to hiring for a new venue?
Hiring people that fit your culture and your brand, but you might not know what that is yet, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's people that want the same, like, understand your purpose.
Yeah.
Like, if you've got a purpose, why have you opened that place? Like, what's your brand? And you hire people that are bought into that, and that's, like, the best thing.
Without a doubt.
Don't go and hire a load of people just because they've got loads of knowledge and loads of... You need to be like... There's something really magical about being part of an opening in general. And, like, that's your team for the next few years, because once they feel like they're really involved in that opening, you know, they will do anything for your brand, and that's fantastic. So don't hire for experience, hire for the right people that are just good eggs.
Yeah, good eggs.
Good eggs.
Yeah, good humans goes a long way, right?
Yeah.
Just being a good human goes a long way.
That cares.
That cares.
And that isn't so that they can do an AFD.
No, yeah.
So that they...
Yeah, let's not take the advantage.
Care and look after your business when you're not there, so you can have a day off.
Yeah. And what about knowing about who you are? So, I'm projecting hard here, by the way. But as when I set up a business, I was still am in the process of finding out who I am. Like, what am I strong at? What do I really care about? What do I actually not care about? What makes me happy? What doesn't? And knowing at least a little bit of that about yourself, hopefully will allow you to hire someone that maybe fills a bit of those gaps.
Yeah.
That is probably going to call you out on your bullshit every now and again.
Yeah.
That is your yin to yang, but not your job.
Yeah, but that's creating a culture where people that feel confident to feedback.
Yeah.
We've all worked places before where you literally you just like, absolutely no, I'll just get on with it.
Yeah.
And it's horrible. That doesn't create trust, I guess. And if you want a team that like are going to trust you and be a part of your business, then it's create an environment where you can say, look, that doesn't feel right, but they're not going to feel like they're going to get bollocked for it, or sacked, or moved on because they're not. But you also don't want to create a culture of like whinging, I guess.
Yeah. But whinging, if it's in an environment where it's controlled, right? It's not a whinge, is it? It's like, okay, cool. We're going to spend let's talk about this for half an hour. What is it that's going on? How do we chat about that? I think that's really interesting. The other part to that is the expectations.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of business owners, and I listen to their expectations of their team. And in my head, I'm getting better at verbalising this. I'm thinking to myself, you've got no chance.
No.
Because your expectations are because you are. This is your life. Like, you own this business.
I think that's so important. It will be someone's life.
Yeah.
So you might get half the people walk in and go, oh my God, I want to be there forever. We have it, and it's fantastic. And then it's okay to just want to go in for 12 hours a week and then go home and not talk about my career pathway, talk about next steps. They just want to earn some money and go home. But finding the balance of the right amount of those people is golden.
Okay.
A dream to reach, I guess.
It is, right? But with a hypothetical situation, one venue just opened it up. You can find those people, right?
Take your time. Don't rush it.
And
be honest with your job advert.
and if somebody, like you said, if somebody would have told you when you started, right, working in Knutsford, that you would be a people and culture director,
I'd laugh.
You'd be like, the fuck?
Shut up.
But that's where you're at now.
Yeah.
And do you think that's due to nurture from hospitality? Were you nurtured throughout your career?
definitely.
Yeah.
Often not, sometimes not nurtured, and nurtured myself, I guess.
Okay.
I think I've, really nurtured. I could talk for hours about the inspirational people I've worked with in the last 20 years. 20 years. Wow. Like so many inspirational people, but so many like non-inspirational people that also teach you as well.
Yeah.
And I also, do you know what? As much as COVID was horrendous, it was actually a bit of a godsend for me.
Yeah.
Going into a new role, which I knew nothing about, and actually did a hell of a lot of like self-directed learning. And I was, lucky enough to have that time. But there is still time, especially when you like on your commute. There's so many amazing like podcasts and leadership books that you can listen to. Like I will not read a book. Like I don't know. Like I'll just like stare at the words. I can't do it. But Audible's like the best $6.99 a month I spend, because you get a book and there's so much you can do to support yourself. I've forgotten the question. I just went off on a tangent.
It's always the best when you do this. Because hopefully for anybody listening, they're getting a lot from this. They're recognising, kind of breaking that down, that when it comes down to culture, it comes down to communication, values, beliefs, behaviours.
Totally. And listening. And admitting when you've fucked up. That is honestly the biggest thing I've learned along the way. Like, don't brush it under the carpet. Acknowledge it.
Yeah, Brené Brown says it right, leading with vulnerability.
And like, yeah, for sure. And like, you go, to go into a venue and they've had a shit time, you're like, we really could have supported you better with that. We're sorry, like, that's shit. And it's not really about saying sorry either. It's like, yeah, that was crap. Yeah. Let's move on. And just, being human, for sure.
Being human, for sure. And that's a great place to leave it. Like, they talking about people and bringing it back to being human, I think is really powerful. Yeah. Because that sometimes is missed. We recognise that we, in hospitality, are expected or not expected to always be on, always be available, always be a human.
I think, like, in a people role, you're like, it's like a given thing that there should never be anything wrong with you. Like, what do you mean? You're in charge of how we feel. And that's really hard. And I think, do you know what? I am lucky enough, and you don't get this in a venue. And like, I don't want to piss everyone off that's listening to this that works in a venue. You can't just go and work from home, right? I get that. Yeah. And I'm really lucky because I know and I recognise in myself when I'm not going to be inspirational or I'm not going to be good to be around. And I will just take myself away from a situation. But like recognising that in yourself, or even if you could just be like, do you know what? Like set a boundary and be like, I haven't got the bandwidth to like listen to this today. Because it can be, especially in a venue, it can be like relentless, right? When you've just got like people coming up to you all the time, offloading their problems. And that isn't just for a people team, that's for all. As a manager, you're not just learning how to look after guests, like you're managing a team. Sometimes that's for the first time, and it's really hard when suddenly you're the person that everyone tells their problems to. That's really difficult, and it's so difficult to be able to then walk out that office and deliver to your guests, which is why you're there in the first place. Right. And that's so difficult. So it's being able to signpost and being able to set a boundary and be like, I can't fix this right now. What can I do for you right now to help you either be on shift or go home? And let's find you someone else to talk to. Because I think the hardest job, it certainly is being a manager in hospitality, because you've got guests telling you you're a dickhead for whatever reason, and then you've got your staff telling you you're a dickhead for other reasons, and it's really hard.
And then you've got an internal monologue, maybe, for some people that are telling them the same thing. Yeah. And that's like a perpetual cycle, and that can be really challenging. Yeah. And one of the things that I recognise...
I also really recognise that you said that's a good place to leave it, and I'm still shying.
No, it's good. No, it's
Classic.
not. No, it's good. It's because you've brought up one more topic of conversation, and I suppose it's something that's really valid. I recognised, and I've been doing quite a lot of thinking shock around this recently, is that a lot of people, they get promoted into a managerial role in the trade, are usually technically very gifted, right? And very good at their job. Their job might have been in a particular thing. Yeah. It could have been being a bartender, being a server, being a BDM. It could be any of those things that they excelled at. Then they get pushed into a position, not pushed, maybe gifted, maybe nurtured, maybe directed, whatever the fuck it is. They're in a position where they've now got a team of humans that they've never, for the majority, been taught about how to manage and how to look after.
You can teach anyone how to cash up.
Yeah.
But teaching empathy for guests and your team is so much harder. We kind of rewrote all of our fantastic Cassie, shout out, rewrote all of our management training and flipped it on its head. That it wasn't just about doing some lates, doing some earlies, running a shift. It's about managing people, because being a leader is the hardest part, and it's so hard and exhausting.
And a continuous learning. A continuous learning. Because if anybody says they've mastered it, I will push back. 100%. That's usually shows quite a lot of ego, right? And I'll be like, you sure? I think so. But I remember like being a general manager at 20 and being like, what the fuck do I do here? What?
20 years old.
And then, but then that's silly, innit? Because it's like, I can make drinks. I know my classic specs, right? I can do a cash up. I can close. I can do stop.
You're a shift leader. It's not GM. I'm sure you did a great job. I'm not going to say you did an error job, mate.
Like a horrendous job. I've got like a 30-year-old bartender coming to me talking about stuff that's going on at home, and I'm just like, ooh, suck it up.
Do you want to go for a pint?
Do you want to go for a pint? We've got a line, mate. Yeah.
Oh, God.
And all of the above. And, and then you kind of learn, don't you? Throughout.
I think it's really interesting, like, to teach people how to set boundaries. Like, obviously, for an example would be, so you have a team member who's talking to you about their mental health and, potentially risk of doing harm to themselves. And I've seen it 1,000 times where a manager will like sit with them for hours and pass that on to us the next day. And immediately I'm like, why didn't you call 999? Like, that is not on you. And it's teaching people that just because you're the manager, you're not there to like fix everything. There are people out there to help, like ring someone. Don't just sit in an office and try and talk someone down like that. It's the pressure.
Scary, isn't it?
It's just the pressure that isn't needed, and I think people feel like they have to do that. And it's not.
And save for yourself.
Also, for sure. So first thing I ever say to anyone who asks me any advice, I'm like, "You all right?" Because it's so hard. It's a really hard thing to safeguard a people team, because they just hear this shit all the time. No one ever rings you and goes, I love working here. They don't. They just ring you and go, can I sack someone? And it's really hard. It's a lot of negative energy.
Hey, that's going to annoy some people. Maybe finish on that. If you are listening to this and you work inside of the trade and you're not in a people team, when was the last time that you messaged?
Oh, no, I'm not asking for everyone to ring me and tell me, but it's
necessary though, right? Because those people are humans as well.
I
think the more we recognise
I'm not just talking about me. It's like the whole wider team, right? The whole business. You often only hear bad stuff. Not good stuff.
And there's so much good in our
Just
trade.
think about the good stuff sometimes. Because it's great.
Neuroplasticity.
So much fun.
We do that a lot, right? Because we'll have some conversations that can be heavy at times, right, mate? And then I find that we do that quite a lot. We try not to mask it with laughter and all of the good stuff, but then remember why we're doing what we're doing. And because I know we talk a lot about what is hard inside of the trade and what some of the challenges, but at the end of the day, it's such a fucking incredible place to be.
I love it. Just think about that group of gals getting a dry ice for the first time. It's mega.
So true, mate. Right.
It's great.
I think mate, thanks for coming.
Sorry if I've hurt everyone's ears with my loud laughter straight down a microphone.
We had to start a strong first ever SLT podcast. Hannah Plumb, non-exec director.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Big love, mate.
Thank you.
If you or anybody else that you know has been affected by any of the topics of the conversations we've just had, please find all of the details of the support networks below. Big love.
Through the nights, chasing these dreams. So let's talk, let's vibe, let's team.